Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for episode 47 of the Doll Symposium. As always, I'm your host, Shizusan, and my beautiful assistant today is the very lovely Hana-chan. So without further ado, let's just get today's video started, shall we? Alright everybody, so today is episode 47. We got quite a bit to cover today, but before we do that, I just want to make my usual, well, I don't know if I should call it usual, but make a quick announcement for what's going to be happening. So, little Hana-chan is going to move off to the side for right now while we talk about the next point in today's episode. So, the first thing I want to address, actually, is the next event I'll be attending, which is going to be Anime Next. So, Anime Next is an anime convention here in the state of New Jersey. It's going to be taking place next week. As you can see, the countdown timer here, it says 6 days, 8 hours, 50 minutes, 58 seconds. So if you're really good at math or whatever, you could tell what time I'm actually recording this video and what day. But other than that, the con starts basically in a week. It's going to be June 16th to June 18th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be there. Pretty much, I expect to be there maybe all 3 days, if not 2 days. But I will definitely be there Friday and Saturday. So I'm going to be hosting 2 panels at Anime Next. On Friday, I believe it's at 4:30, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be hosting the Do You Sumo panel. It's a panel about sumo wrestling. And then on Saturday, early in the morning, I think it's like 11 a.m. or 11:45 a.m. You guys have to check the schedule. But on Saturday, I will be hosting an Intro to Anime Dolls panel. So if you are going to be going to Anime next weekend, definitely come by and show your support and come check out the panels. Again, Friday at, I believe, 4:30 on Friday, and Saturday at 11:30, I think it is, in the morning. So definitely come out if you want to see the sumo panel or the anime panel. I also want to be holding a little get-together, like a little doll meetup. It will be on Saturday, and I want to make it at 2 p.m. on Saturday. I don't know where to meet up on Saturday, and that's because Anime Next is going to be at a brand new venue. So I have no idea what the layout is going to be like, or what it, like they have like little maps and stuff, but until you actually get there, you won't know like landmarks, like, oh, there's like a little coffee shop over here, or there's a poster over here, or, whatever. So my plan is that on Friday, which is the 16th, I'm going to go and check out the area and see if I can find like a really good place that we can meet up. And then I'll post it on my Instagram page so that you guys will know exactly where we are going to meet up on Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, one thing I do want to make you guys aware of, because this is going to be a huge problem for Anime Next this year. I don't know how they're going to really do it or resolve it, but the convention is going to be in 2 separate places. Now, most conventions that you go to, everything is going to be in one building. Sometimes they're split off into 2 buildings, but the 2 buildings are directly next to each other. Like you go outside and you walk across the street, you're in the next building, hurrah, everything's great, good, and you're ready to go. However, this year, the convention center itself is in Edison. And the problem with that is going to be at the New Jersey Expo Center. Now that is going to house the dealer room, the artist alley room, main events, the cosplay masquerade, and the guest panels and like the guest signing places and all that. That's going to be at the New Jersey Expo Center. However, the panels themselves, the workshops, the tabletop gaming, the manga library, the video game center, and pretty much everything else is going to be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in New Brunswick, which is about, I'm told different numbers, so take it for what you will, but it's roughly about 10 to 15 miles away from the convention center. That's pretty far. Like, to drive there, if you take your own personal car to drive between the 2 events, it's maybe 20-25 minute drive between the 2 places. And I'm saying that like because you're gonna have to traverse through Route 1, which can be very, very trafficky, especially, during the hot times or the rush hour times, of the day. So I've never seen this done before at any convention where two separate buildings are so far apart. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be crazy, and that's why my panel on is going to be at basically at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on Saturday at 11:45, and then it's going to end at 12 p.m. And then I gave myself basically like an hour buffer to get from that hotel to the convention center, and that's why we're meeting at 2 p.m. Um, it's gonna be interesting, to be honest. I really don't know, and if you guys can't make it there, or if you guys think it's too much of a hassle to make there, I totally understand if you want to skip this event. However, I'm just putting it out there that if you guys do want to attend, you want to hang out and meet other like doll people, we are going to have a meetup on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the New Jersey Expo Center. I just have to find like a good place. That may be subject to change though, the place, because maybe I'll keep it in the Hyatt Regency Hotel where the panel is on Saturday. I'm not saying that just because it's easier so I don't have to bounce back and forth. I'm merely just saying that because I haven't been to either venue yet. So I could get to the New Jersey Expo Center in Edison, and maybe there's just no real good place to hang out and set up shop for us to have a doll meet. Whereas typically if you go into a hotel, there may be places with tables and seating that you can like easily find and like hang out at. Also, the difference is that definitely at the New Jersey Expo Center, you're gonna need a badge to get in. If you want to come and maybe not pay for a badge and hang out, it's quite possible that the Hyatt Regency Hotel will have a place that we can just find to hang out that doesn't require you to use a badge to get in. So you won't even have to pay like a $70, $60 badge to attend this con just to meet up with doll people. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that the meeting may happen in the hotel. But again, I'm going to go on Friday. I'm going to check out both venues and try to find the venue that has the best meeting spot. And then I will let you guys know in my Instagram page of exactly where we're going to meet on Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, I know it took a lot of time. That was about a good 8 minutes of today's episode, but I just wanted to make it clear on what's happening and what to look out for, as this is going to be a very interesting event that's going to be happening. But again, Friday at 4:30, I'm doing a sumo panel. Saturday at 11:30, I think, in the morning, I'm doing an intro to anime dolls panel. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. And that ends my little tidbit about Anime Next. If you have any further questions, please reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. You can direct message me if you want more info. I'm more than happy to reply. If not, I will see you guys at Anime Next. Now, that brings us back to what you guys are definitely here for, which is the Doll Symposium today. So we are going to switch views. There we go. So today's episode, we are going to start, as always, with Dolphy Dream news. And we have some big news today. Not a lot, but some big news. And that is the Mini Dolphy Dream 2.0 DDF3 blog part 2. So part 2 is giving us more information on what's new with the 2.0 Dolphy. Now, hopefully you guys can see this. Is that in this picture here, you have on this side, the new one, this is the 2.0 body. And then over here, you have the regular MDD DDF3 body. Now, immediately what you can tell the difference is right here in the crotch/thigh area. On the new body, you can see that the bigger lines for the hips or the pelvis bone to allow for more movement of the legs. Whereas on the original ones, the cutout for the legs to fit into the pelvis or the hip is very shallow. So it didn't really allow for a lot more movement, especially on the sides. Whereas if you look at the new body, there is a bigger cutout for the pelvis/hip bone for the legs to go in so they can move further forward, backwards, or side to side. There's a lot more freedom of movement on there. Another thing that you're going to notice for the body is the torso. So the torso is a little bit more, I guess, slimmed down / hourly glass shape, whereas this one, it does have that, but not as pronounced. It also has, the bust is different. So you could see the bust on the cutout for the midsection here is a little bit more flat, and it's also a little bit bigger, whereas on this one you have it slimmed down a little bit more, and there is more of a concave cut in the mid torso to allow for more movement as well. Now, another thing you're going to notice is the feet. So on the older one, you could see here where the ankles go in between the feet and the shin. There's like this space, I guess you could say. There's like a space here where it just looks a little unsightly. And that was for it to have some mobility, I guess. Or maybe it was just a gap there that's just regular in production, which we do have with the normal Dolphy Dream and Dolphy Dream sister bodies anyways. But with this new 2.0 version, the cutaway is gone. So they made it to where the ankle and the shin meeting the actual ankle joint, or like the foot and the shin meeting the ankle joint, actually covers more. So like instead of saying the shin joint is like a flat and then it attaches to a circle, the way they made it was more so that the shin joint is like this, and then you have the ankle joint and it goes inside. So now it's much more of a cleaner look. So I really do like this. You see this also in Smart Doll as well with the newer Smart Doll Evolve bodies. You see a lot more of the concave so that the ball joint fits in and it gives it a much more flush look. So I guess Dolphy Dream is taking a page out of Smart Doll for that or something, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else started it, but the first thing that came to my mind was the newer Evolve bodies kind of have the same gist to it. And now these new mini Dolphy Dream 2.0 DDF3 bodies seem to have the same thing. I could be wrong. I don't ever claim to be an expert in this stuff. I just, look at a lot of things and I just tell you my opinion. But that's the way it seems to look to me. Now, to show you some examples here, you can see that the way here on the inner frame for the feet have changed a little bit. It's pretty much the same as it always has been. It's just the way that the ankle joints are positioned and made is a little bit different. You have more of a follow-up to the ankle joint here, whereas before it was just kind of a straight line with a ball attached. And then here in the neck joint, this is the cool thing. So if you ever seen the neck joint on a Dolphy, the newer DDF3s have this looking thing here, but it didn't have this part, this top part, because usually the older the bodies, the way the neck joint was, like you could see this one straight up. The older ones used to have this weird curve, like it was like a half moon curve to it. I don't know the reasoning for it, but they did have it. And that made it a little hard when you're trying to pose the head forward or backward, depending on how it was. Now you could pull the head off of it a little bit to kind of angle it to give it that effect. But I guess that what they're saying here is that you don't have to do that now because of this joint. Now, some examples of the joint itself. This is what it actually looks like. This is the neck piece that sticks out of the neck. And then you see these little riblets here, or these little O-rings. Now, in this one, you see 5 O-rings. But then here, when you actually put the head into the neck, you only see 1 of them. So I'm not really sure if, I guess you take off the top O-ring of the 5, put the head in, and then put the O-ring on top. I'm not really entirely sure how that's working. Or maybe the O-ring's just there and you just kind of jam the head on enough till it clicks once to go over the first O-ring. I'm not really sure, and I probably won't know until I make a video about it, or somebody else makes a video about it, or something of that nature. Maybe part 3 or part 4 will explain a little bit more how that head process works out. But again, it is quite interesting to look at, and that joint in there is probably right below this neckline here to make it move forward and back. Now, another thing is you can see some examples here of the posing that you can now do. So with the head, with the new neck joint, they can look up a lot better. Hanamaru can do something like that, but it's not really the same. Like if we look at her here, she kind of looks, yeah, see, that's about as far as she goes. Whereas in the picture, you can definitely see the head tilting a lot more. So yeah, it's it's definitely going to give you more motion in the head. Now, also, it's showing off the different ways that you can pose it, like with the legs. Like you could see here, it definitely does a full 90 on the sitting posture. And then this dynamic pose, which I'm sure there must have been a stand holding her up and they just kind of whited it out or erased it in post-production. Because I find it hard to believe that she's standing on her own just like this. Like, it's a great pose, don't get me wrong, but just like physically, I don't know if a doll could actually hold their pose like that. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe this new frame can do it. But I'm just assuming that there was probably a doll stand that they erased in post-production. But either way, it's showing the ability to pose the back, how you can arch the back and move the legs up so forward to the torso that you can actually get this look, along with the neck tilt as well. So very, very interesting. I love the posing. Hopefully this will be adapted to like a regular Dolphy Dream 2.0 or Dolphy Dream Sister 2.0, etc. Now, other dynamic posing that you could see is like you could see the leg kick up like this. That's pretty far. Also with the arching back, like the old ones, this is the old ones, how far back they can go. The new ones, it's pretty far back. Now, obviously, nobody ever stands or walks around like that, right? But I think what they're trying to get at here is something like if you're doing the pose where you're laying on your stomach for pictures and you're looking up, like let's say they're laying on the floor or laying on a bed or a couch on their stomach and they're looking up to take pictures like this or something of that nature, it does have that ability to do so, which it didn't before. You could do them with smart dolls, but you couldn't do them with Dolphy Dreams because they just didn't bend enough to get that arc in so that they can look forward while lying on their stomach. So a lot of really cool information here. Now, this is the most important, I think, for right now, is compatibility, which I know a lot of people are wondering about. Because what if you have already a regular mini Dolphy Dream DDF3 body? Or even if you have the pre-DDF body, does anything work? Who knows? But at least with a regular DDF3, they can give us at least this much. Where the head, everything stays the same. Even though the neck joint is different, you can use your older heads on with these new bodies. The hands, same thing. The upper arm, bicep, the lower arm, like all that internal frame there, and the wrist joint is exactly the same as the regular DDF3. Nothing has changed, so you can still interchange all those arm pieces and wrist pieces and hand pieces as much as you want. The chest is a little bit different. The actual upper torso is designed differently. So if you were to use the old, oh, I shouldn't say old, but the original DDF3 busts, they will fit on the new 2.0 DDF3, but you will lose range of motion because of the way that the original busts are designed, with that much lower and bigger torso with the flat cutoff at the midriff instead of the curved cutoff. So you will be able to fit it, but it will be bigger and you will lose some posability. Now, same thing with clothing, which is cool, is that even though these adjustments were made, the doll is still the same height and relatively around the same thickness, I guess you could call it. So any items that you can use for MDD dresses will still work. You don't really have to change anything. Pretty much all of them are going to work, especially dresses are probably going to work the best, because even though there are some minute changes, dresses are kind of free-flowing, whereas if you had something more so like a pair of jeans, maybe that might be a little bit harder to put on, or maybe you'll see a little bit of a difference in bagginess or tightness, who knows, between the two models. So that's just some interesting tidbits that they gave us, that head, hands, everything's fine, clothing is fine, but the other upper busts, if you have original DDF3 busts, they will limit movement. They will fit, but they will limit movement for the new 2.0s. Very, very cool stuff. Very excited to see them. I don't know if I really want to buy a whole nother character doll just so I can experience the new body, or if maybe if I just buy a new body and put either Haruna's or Hana-chan's head on the new body. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Don't forget that Anya from Spy Family is coming out on the new Mini Dolphy Dream body. So that'll be interesting. So I might get one just to get Anya. But again, that brings in the age-old question: if I'm gonna get Anya, then why didn't I get Yor? Because you kind of need both, right? They kind of go together. They're a family. But yeah, either way, I mean, this is all great news. I can't wait to see part 3 of the 2.0 DDF3 mini Dolphy Dream body, so they can give us more information. Now, Volks has announced that they're having an anniversary, which they have lots of anniversaries are going on. But in this particular one, it's an anniversary of the Volks News, because Volks News is now hitting volume 100. And to commemorate that, apparently they're releasing these two dolls, Moe and Natsuki, from the original DD character series After School Akihabara Girls. They're going to be re-released to commemorate the new Dolphy Dream 20th anniversary / volume 100 news magazine anniversary. That's all the information we know. I don't know. They haven't told us any details on whether or not this is going to be a click war, a pre-order project, or whatever it is. We also don't know the date. They haven't released when they're actually going to be released. That was a bit redundant. They haven't announced when the release date for these girls is going to be. I mean, it could be now. I don't know. Like, when I scoured the internet to find out, I couldn't find a date. So if anybody knows a release date for these two girls, please put it in the comment section down below. But I don't believe I saw a date listed on there. But no, Moe and Natsuki, very cute. Actually more fond of Natsuki than Moe. And if you're trying to figure it out, Natsuki's the one with the red hair, or the brownish hair, compared to Moe, which is with the darker hair. But definitely cute little ladies. And for those of you that always wanted to get into the original line of After School Akihabara Girls, now's your chance with this re-release. But again, we don't know if it's going to be pre-order or click war or lottery or whatever. So we have to wait for more information to come. But that really wraps up everything for Dolphy Dream News this week. So let's move on to Azone International, which also has some pretty interesting news. So first up, Doll Show 69. So this is going to be taking place very, very soon. If not today, as of the recording of this video is going to be June 11th. So maybe this takes place yesterday, because the Doll Show is June 11th. Oh no, it was over. It was June 6th. I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong date. It was June 6th. It already came. It already gone. But the reason why I'm telling you this is that at Doll Show 69, they released 2 girls. Which was the Reira twins, or Layla twins, whichever way you want to put it. I think it's supposed to be Reira, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Now, if you remember, both the Reira twins came out a while ago, back in, I think, December or November. They were released, and this was the original look for the Reira twins. They were both the little fox girls, one with gray, one with black. And they both had silver hair, and they both had maid outfits, right? Well, to commemorate Doll Show, what was it again? Doll Show 69. Yeah, see, I wanted to say 69, but then I was like, I don't know. But yeah, oh wait, no, here it says the date, 6/11. So apparently it's 6/11. I don't know why I'm reading here. See, it says June 2023, and then it says 6/11. You know, I don't know. The whole thing threw me off. Either way, if you're in Japan, it's going on. All of us international people missed it. But they had these 2 girls with a new re-release version. So ready? Boom. You have the Reira Momu Cafe maid versions with different hair. So everything is exactly the same for the 2 girls. As you can see here, they're still the same 2 girls. The only difference that makes them special this time around is one has pink hair and one has this dark auburn style hair. So as you can see, same eye color on the left, blue, same eye color on the right, brown, but both have silver wigs, and then now they have pink and dark brown. So that's really the only difference between them. So if you want them with the different hair color, you could try and pick them up. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because they're going to be released later on for their own version of an after event. Now, both of these girls have changeable eyes. They're on the 48 centimeter AZO2 body with the eye bust. As you can tell from the picture, they have a very large bust in order to fit that dress, which if any of you watch My Dress Up Darling, they actually called like the boob holders or something like that. So I don't know. It is what it is. Now, here's the information right here is that you're going to have your chance on the azone.net or the Azone label shop on Wednesday, June 15th. So you can go on the website for azone.net and try to get them there. Again, I don't know, but I think it's going to be a click war because it does say, since the number is limited, it will end as soon as it runs out. That to me spells click war. I don't think it's going to be a pre-order project based upon what it sounds like it's saying here. So be prepared for that if you want to pick up any of these special edition girls that really it's just a wig change. So both of them are lovely though. If you missed out on getting the original girls, because I don't know if they're still available, this might be your only chance to get either of the Reiras. Now another announcement. Our 2 brand new girls going to be released on the Iris Collect line. Now they are, it says here Noix, right? So it says here Noix, Happy Sunny Day. You have the Aozora or the Aozora version or the Komorebi version. So you have these 2 versions of the girls and it says Noix, but when you go onto their actual product page, like for here, they're called Noa. So I don't know. This is the Aozora version of Noa or Noix. Base price is 58,000 yen, including taxes 63,800 yen. With today's conversion rate, I mean, you're looking at somewhere around like, I think $500 maybe for this young lady. They do come on right here. They have the Noa exclusive Azone original eyes. It is on the Obitsu 50 centimeter AZO2 body, so they're 2 centimeters taller than the Reira twins. And they have the G bust, so the bust is a little bit smaller than the Reira twins as well. Pre-orders will be accepted on Thursday, June 8th, so it has already started, scheduled to release on Friday, June 30th. Since the number is limited, it will end as soon as it runs out. So in a way, this is a click war still. I mean, it is a pre-order, but it's a pre-order click war because if you think about it, everyone that wants it is going to try and click on that pre-order button. And then once it runs out of the limit, it runs out. So you're not guaranteed to get one within the allotted time frame of the pre-order period is what I'm saying. Now, same thing with the other girl. This is Noa Happy Sunday Komorobi version. Same price, same release date, same rules. The only difference is obviously the outfit and the eye color and stuff like that. So if you're either interested in Komorubi, see these names are really like messing with me. Komorubi or Aozora, please visit the Azone.net on the website and see if you can pick them up there. If not, you're gonna have to contact your proxies in Japan to see if they can get you a copy of either of these girls. You can also try with Fabric and Friends because they are a licensed Azone dealer. So you can try with Fabric and Friends to see if you can get your hands on one of these girls there as well. I do not know if Fabric and Friends will have the Reira twins available on their site. You're going to have to check with them. And that really ends up everything for Azone news this week. So that brings us to Smart Doll news. Again, Smart Doll news, we have lots to talk about, the regular news, and then like the little snippet of pictures and stuff like that. And it wouldn't be Smart Doll news anymore without some weird kind of controversy going on. So let's just hop into it this week and find out what's going on. So first off, Danny Chu has posted this picture here of anime version of Transcendence. So just to give you guys an idea, this is anime Transcendence, and this is the original semi-real Transcendence. And Danny Chu's asking, what do you guys think? Do you prefer anime or semi-real version? Now, you guys know me. I love my anime girls. I don't dislike semi-real, though. I love semi-real, too. Just, you know, it's not as many girls in the semi-real line that I like as much as the anime. But in this particular case, I am loving Transcendent semi-real way more than the anime version. The anime version is just not really my cup of tea with this look. I just think that semi-real really suits the vampire look, like the smaller eyes, the pursed lips, you know what I mean, with the fangs coming out. It just really fits the look so well. Whereas the anime version of Transcendence, she's cute, but I feel like she's missing that vampire look. She looks more like your average anime girl. So if you were to ask me, Transcendence semi-real for the win. She definitely looks cooler. But if you guys prefer the anime version, I mean, that's great. Prefer the anime version, you know, and when she gets released, that'll be your time to buy her. But I thought that was just interesting, you know, that he actually released this picture and is going to be releasing anime Transcendence. But in addition to that, we also have the announcement here of Transcendence Human. So now we have the Transcendence Human version. This is the one without the fangs and without the vampire red eyes. And she is a cutie. You can see that this human version of Transcendence is still a part of the semi-real line, and she looks absolutely gorgeous. And judging from the fact that I was able to see a Transcendence in person, thank you, John and Sandy from My Lady Disdain, for bringing her to the Thy Geekdom Con, I am super psyched about this human version. I know a lot of people are on the vampire train and think it's really cool, as well as I do too, but I really am taking a liking to Transcendence Human, for my personal opinion. Vampires are awesome, but Transcendence Human I think looks really cool. So we have no release date for Transcendence Human, so we have no idea when she's going to be released, but this is a very cool picture, and shout out to Kit and Cat Shop for the really cool mug. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is Prowess. I almost said Prius. Proud Prowess was released actually yesterday. Well, I guess as the filming of this video, it was released yesterday. And she sold out pretty quickly. So Danny is going to devote a little bit more time to making more Proud Prowesses so that other individuals have a shot of basically picking her up. That also means that if he's going to do so, that some of the other girls like Transcendence, maybe human or anime, is going to get pushed back a little bit so that they can focus more on Proud Prowess. Which is fine. I mean, you know, it's Danny's company. He can do whatever he wants. And I'm sure all the individuals that missed out on Proud Prowess are very excited to get another shot at her. So if you were missed out on her release, there's going to be another chance coming, I guess, relatively soon, as they're ramping up production to do more Proud Prowesses and putting Transcendence on the back burner for the time being. But she definitely is cute. I do like the multicolor whiskers, and I know there's a lot of Prowess fans in general out there, so this might be the Prowess for you. Now, next up, this is exciting. This is very exciting. So Pocket Doll is now back in the running. We're getting more information about Pocket Doll, and as you can see here, we actually have a ball-jointed version. So for the longest time, we've been seeing production photos of Pocket Doll, and it was a mannequin, Pocket Doll mannequin version, which means it didn't move at all. It was just basically a statue and a mannequin that he wanted to produce and release so that, you know, ateliers or people that like to make custom clothing for dolls can get a first crack at the doll at making clothes for them. So that was the initial release. But now we can see that he's actually working on the movable version with an internal skeleton for Pocket Doll. And you can see the size difference here. It is definitely smaller than the regular Dolphy Dream, but it doesn't look like it's as small as a lot of people were hoping to be. I know a lot of individuals out there were hoping for like a sister type, like a mini Dolphy Dream type. If anything, this one kind of looks like a Dolphy Dream sister, maybe Dolphy Dream Pretty type. So not as small as other people had hoped, but still pretty significantly smaller. And, you know, hats off to Dan Chu, because he said it's much harder. It's not as easy to just take what he has existing and just scale it down. Now, I don't know the technical terms he used, but basically that's what he said in a nutshell, is that you can't just generally take what you have and just shrink it down. There's just much more complexities than just that. So hats off to him and his team for actually getting it done and making it an actual prototype so that all the fans of Pocket Doll can, have some hope that she will be released, sometime in the near future, hopefully. And then on the picture on the right, you can see the internal skeleton frame difference. So you got the regular internal frame for the Evolve, and you have the new, I don't know what we're going to call it, mini Evolve frame now, because it's a much smaller Evolve frame. But you can see the size difference. Definitely the neck joint, much, much smaller for the neck, and the peg. The shoulder joints, surprisingly enough, are smaller, but for some weird reason, I don't know if it's an optical illusion, the shoulder joints don't look that much smaller than the original one. Like, it's still smaller, but it doesn't look that noticeably smaller as much as the neck joint does. Like, the neck joint just kind of screams out smaller. You could see the big difference. But the shoulder joints, it kind of it's definitely smaller. I'm not going to say it's not, but like, there's not as drastic. Oh, what's going on here? There's not as drastic a change between the two shoulders, at least in my personal opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just my eyes acting weird on me because it's so late at night and I can't tell the difference anymore. But it just doesn't scream drastic difference as much as the neck joint does. That's just all I'm saying. But it is exciting to see a Pocket Doll with movable legs and arms. This is very promising. Can't wait to see more prototypes of Pocket Doll in the future. Now, next up, Danny Chu has been working. He has been working on his trailer home thing that he's been doing for the past, I don't know, year or so. So I remember the first time he announced the whole trailer home thing, that he was going to start doing homes. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. It was launched during April Fool's, so I didn't think it was going to be real because, come on, it's a house. There's like a lot more differences in a house than a doll. But Danny Chu really went gung-ho on it. Like, he likes to go be in the outdoors. He likes to camp, glamping kind of camping. He's a very outdoorsy person, which is cool, but I just didn't realize he was that serious about this trailer home thing. And this is the picture that I used. He had so many pictures of this trailer, but I just chose this picture because you can see the whole trailer. So it's pretty nice. But if you actually go to the Instagram page, you'll see all the different pictures of the interior. And it actually, I'm not gonna lie, it actually looks pretty cool. Like, there's a loft area in there. There's like a kitchen. It looks so good. Definitely check out his Instagram page or on the Smart Doll page to see more pictures of the trailer home thingy or the mini home thing. I don't know if he really is going to live up to the fact that he's going to make multiple ones for people to stay in when they come visit. I have no idea. That would be pretty damn awesome, though, because when I go back to Japan, I would like to at least try out staying in one of those things. But I'm pretty sure by the time I actually get to Japan, these things are not going to be available or completed as of yet. But still, it's a pretty cool idea, to have Smart Doll family people kind of stay over by staying in one of these trailers. But again, I think he also mentioned that these trailer homes are not very close to Tokyo proper, where Gotanda is. So it might be a huge trip to get out there, and you might actually need a car to get out there. It doesn't look like any trains are in walkable distance from where this is. So logistically, I just don't know how that's going to work, if it really is for people to hang out and stay over. No idea. But definitely very cool trailer home. Definitely check out the pictures of the inside. Looks very, very cool. Now, lastly, let's talk about the drama, or whatever you want to call it. The controversy, the frustration, the anger, the animosity. I don't know. And really, to be honest, I don't understand why this is a huge problem. Like, I get the sentiment and I get the complaints of people, but at the same time, you don't see this anywhere else. So let me explain what's going on for those of you that don't know what has happened. So recently, FOMO has been a thing. We already talked about FOMO twice in prior episodes, and I don't really want to go over it again because it's just getting exhausting to this point to have to constantly talk about FOMO. Like people just really need to get on board with what it is and understand what it is, and just try not to fall into the FOMO trap. But again, this new controversy is kind of like, it kind of plays into the FOMO thing for some individuals. So the whole spiel of the argument is, when Danny releases products, it's usually randomly, and you don't know what's going to be released. So it could be Monday, it could be Saturday night, it could be Friday night, it could be any time that he releases these things. And we don't know what he's releasing. It could be a doll, it could be chaos, it could be just clothing, whatever it may be. It could be option heads, I don't know. Nobody knows, to be honest. Like that's the whole spiel of his release schedule, is just he's going to announce, hey, something's going to drop tomorrow morning, or hey, something's going to drop in a few hours. He's not going to tell you what it is. That's been his prerogative since, I think he started doing this when the pandemic happened, I believe. And he writes a whole long post explaining in detail the exact reason he is releasing his products this way. Now, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, you can't deny the fact that he put it out there in black and white. The fact that you didn't want to read it because it was either too long or you just didn't want to take the time to read it for whatever reason. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, he did post his reasonings. It is out there for everybody and anybody to read. It is a long read, I'll give you that, but it is out there in black and white, and it spells it out very clearly why he's releasing his products the way he releases it. Now, the argument is that for individuals apparently in Europe, they're getting angry because they can't purchase any dolls when they drop. Because generally when Danny Chu releases stuff, it's usually in the morning, Japan time, like when they open up shop. He usually does the releases in the morning. Now, for everybody else in the world, that could be, during the time where you're just leaving work up until nighttime, all the way up until like the middle of the night, when that release schedule is going to be. And that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me, not because I'm an American and I live in America, and apparently another part of this argument is that he's catering to Americans. That's not the case. He's catering to the schedule that works best for his team. So think about it. If he releases things first thing in the morning when he opens up shop, whatever time that is, 9 a.m. in Japan time, 10 a.m. in Japan time, whatever time that is in Japan, first thing in the morning when they open the shop, that's when he announces the releases. It makes sense that he announces it at that time. Why? Because one, it's the beginning of the day. All of his staff is there. So when the orders start, when he sends out the links and the orders start piling in, like people just start ordering and ordering and ordering, one, all the staff is there. Two, it's fresh in the morning. So everybody is, just woken up. Everybody just had their coffee. They're all energized and ready to go. Three, if they do it in the morning like that, they have time to package all the products, as much as they can at least, and then get it ready to ship that afternoon. Right? So I'm not saying all of them are prepared, because he probably takes a lot of orders and can't finish all of them in one day. But the theory behind it is that he'll release the orders first thing in the morning. He'll accept the orders. He'll pack the orders. And then the majority of the orders will go out in the afternoon when the DHL or FedEx guy comes by the building to pick it up. And then it's out the door, which is why a lot of you individuals get your orders within like a couple days, which is amazing. It's going all the way to the other side of the world within a couple of days. Very, very fast shipping. And that's the reasoning behind it. And all of that happens within the workday from, I don't know what his workday is, to be honest, but let's just put a random number to it. Like, let's say 9 in the morning to like 5 o'clock in the evening, right? So all of that gets done in the span of one day. Nobody has to stay late for overtime. Nobody has to come early into work. And that really works into the philosophy of him having his workers not overworked. Now, mind you, when these drops happen, nobody else can do anything else like at his shop. He has a very small staff, very family oriented staff. So when these orders are released, it's all hands on deck. Like everybody stops production on making dolls, production on research and development, production on making clothes. It's all hands on deck because everybody is packing and putting everything together and taking orders and looking at the sales and looking at the fraudulence and all this other kind of stuff that goes into it to get everything packed up, ready, and going out the same day. So he doesn't cater to Americans. He caters to the time frame that it is in Japan and for a reasonable time frame for his workers to be working. And that's what makes sense to me. Now, what's getting other people in Europe mad is that when it releases first thing in the morning in Japan, in Europe, my understanding is from the complaints that I'm reading is that that is 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night for them. Or for some individuals, maybe in other places of the world, it's during the middle of their workday, so they can't leave work to make these orders. Or it's at the end of the workday where they're driving home. They're in the middle of the transportation to drive home. That's just a time zone issue, though. That's not him saying, oh, I love Americans, screw everybody else. That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. That's just literally a time zone issue because Smart Doll is based in Japan. So it makes sense that when they work in Japan, they work normal hours in Japan, which is from, well, actually, I shouldn't say normal because Japan is notoriously known for working way too long. I think it's 7:30 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. That's a ridiculously long workday. And at least for my fellow Americans, we don't like that. Our normal work days are 8-hour days, maybe 9 hours at most. But Japan is almost the entire day they're working. So Danny doesn't like that either. So he gives a more Western style work day where they come in at I guess 9 or 10. Honestly, I don't know what time they come in. And then they leave at somewhere around dinner time, 5 p.m. or something like that, which is a normal 8-hour work day. So it's not him trying to say, screw everybody else in the world, I'm only going to cater to Americans. It's literally a time zone difference. So a lot of people have been making suggestions to Danny on what he can do better. Lottery period, pre-order period, a night crew, things of that nature. So, and he has responded to a lot of these suggestions. And I guess you could say that his responses, in a way, have gotten better compared to prior, incidents where, prior incidents, people were always criticizing on the way he replied. Whereas this time, they're not really criticizing on the way he replies. They're just more so criticizing on something different. It's not even the way he replies. They're just saying that he's favoring Americans more than Europeans, I guess you could say. Now, I could be wrong. I'm really just paraphrasing from what I read. So if I do get some of this information wrong, I do apologize. There was a lot of tweets going out within the span of a few hours, and it's a lot of reading to do to read all of that stuff. I'm just basically giving you the general gist that I read. So if very specific details I missed or misspoke, do call me out on it. I am not afraid to be called out and said, hey, you got that wrong. Because you know what? I'm human. I'm fallible. I make mistakes. I am not perfect. So if I do misrepresent something, call me out on it. I'm totally okay with that because I know that I'm not perfect. I am human. I am not infallible. I make mistakes. So this is my general understanding of what the gripe is. And Danny Chu has made logical responses to all of these things. And I agree with them. And it's not because people are saying, oh, you're just a Danny Chu fanboy or things like that. No, I agree with them because they make sense. First of all, the lottery, right? They said, why don't you do a lottery? Because other companies do them, right? More famously, we know Volks does lottery systems. One of the things that lotteries don't work, and I hated them, is because of Volks. Volks did lotteries, and I wanted a specific doll, right? I wanted to get, a Kirika. I wanted to get an Asuna. I wanted to get not an Asuna, a Sinon. I wanted to get Kirika. What was the ones I tried to get? Kirika, Sinon, Dolphy Dream Icon. I wanted to get who else was on the list? Tosaka, Rin Tosaka from Fate. All of those were lotteries, and all of those I lost. And like, you know what I mean? Like, and you might say, oh, that's fair play. But then there are some individuals that get every single doll that comes out via lottery. And then some people are led to believe, oh, maybe Volks is favoring people. There's no hard evidence to that. There isn't. You don't know if these people are paying scalpers an exorbitant amount of money just so they can have the doll of their dream and just saying they won the lottery. You don't know if they have a proxy service go into the events and get them or something like that. It could very well be favoritism. It could be very well that Volks has like premier members that they favor more and then they give these dolls to, because all of that is hidden. There's no transparency on how these lottery winners are picked. They're just picked. You just think that it's randomly picked, but it's not like they have names on little balls like the lottery and you see all the balls spinning and, they just let one go and then they read it live, none of that. So you really don't know how these winners are being picked. There's no transparency on how. And it's really disheartening and very defeating if there's a doll that you want and you keep losing the lottery, like myself. I lost like so many lotteries for dolls. And even though it may look like I have every single doll I ever wanted, I actually don't. I actually have a laundry list of dolls that I want that I never won the lottery and I've tried multiple times to win. So lottery experiences are not as great as people think they are. They really aren't. But that's just my personal preference. I despise lotteries. I don't like them. I still partake in them though, because that's the only way to get certain dolls from Volks. So, you just got to play the game. That's the way they run their business. And if you want that character, you want that doll, you got to play the game. So I don't think lottery systems work. I don't think they're great. And I agree with the reasoning with Danny Chu. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, the other thing with pre-orders, right? Danny Chu used to do pre-orders. Way back in the day, he did pre-orders, and that's how I got my original OG Chitose, because she was a pre-order. So were other girls like, Ebony and Ivory, I believe. I think some of the original Coco girls were pre-orders. The original AG, I think, was a pre-order. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember. This is now years ago. It's scary to say that this is almost 10 years ago. But yeah, it's been a long time. They started selling smart dolls in 2013, so you think it's 2023 right now. It's almost a whole decade. Or it is rather a decade, actually, to be honest. I don't know how to do math. So anyways, pre-orders were very stressful because for the consumer, I understand why you like it, because I love pre-orders, from Volks. That's one of my favorite things because I am guaranteed to get the doll. Even though it takes a whole year for the doll to come out, I'm guaranteed to get it, which is great. I love that. But Volks is also a huge, huge company that has manufacturing plants that can pump out these vinyl dolls out of a machine like crazy, right? Smart Doll doesn't have that. Smart Doll are handmade. That's part of the charm, I guess you can say, about Smart Doll. Or maybe you really don't care of the fact that they're handmade. They're just beautiful and that's why you like them. I'm not judging. All I'm saying is that these are handmade products. They can't be made as fast as highly manufactured products from a large company like Volks or Azone, where it just prints things like out of a machine like crazy. These are all handmade, and there's a whole page on his website talking about how they're handmade and the whole process and all that. So do read it if you didn't know that. So doing a pre-order project puts a lot of stress on his workers because they have to make a large volume number of these dolls in order for the pre-order to happen. And one thing that he doesn't like, which I agree with, is that he doesn't want his customers to wait an entire year to get the doll that they want. I'm just jaded because I'm so used to the Volks strategy that I'm just used to the whole pre-order, wait a whole year to get the doll. Like, I'm used to that. But as new customers, When I was new to Volks, I hated that I had to wait a whole year. I absolutely hated it. But, that's the way they do their business. So that's the game that I played because I wanted the doll. So, that's really all it is. Like, so Danny didn't like that. And I don't like it either. I just kind of got used to it. I guess that's copium for you guys. But, he doesn't like the fact that you have to pre-order and wait a whole year. So he did his pre-orders back in the day, and you only had to wait a month before they were sent out. But that put a huge strain on his team to make, I don't know, X amount of bodies within a certain amount of X amount of time in order to have them sent out. And he had a larger team back then as well. I don't know the reasonings why he has downsized his team. But it's his business. He runs it the way he wants to run it. Who am I to criticize? I don't know what the inner workings of Smart Doll Land is. I don't know what the day-to-day problems are. I don't know what the salary is. Like, I don't know all these factors that come into how big he wants to keep his team to be, how much he pays them, how much space does he have to house all these people. I don't know any of that information. And you know what? Neither do you guys. But if you do know, let me know, because I don't know any of that information. And if you're basing your answers off of he should have more people, he should do this, where is your proof that he needs to do this? Like, where's your proof that he can afford to do this, that he can house to do this? Like, you can always make up assumptions like, oh, he's rich, or oh, he has all this space. We've seen pictures, but have you been there? Have you seen it? Because those pictures he takes is on a wide angle lens, and it makes the place look a lot bigger than what it actually is. Because I was at the Smart Doll store, and I absolutely love the Smart Doll store, but it is not as big as it looks in the pictures. That wide angle camera lens that he uses, which I also use myself, it does capture the whole room, but it also makes the room look a lot bigger than it is, when it's really a very tiny room. It's very small. Everything in Japan is small, like room-wise. So you might think he has a lot of space, but he really doesn't. It's really cramped, and and he has a small staff, and he keeps it a family-friendly kind of staff. They're essentially his family, so to speak. And you could see they go on vacations together and stuff like that, which makes him a very cool boss. If you were an employee of Danny, I would assume that you love working there. I don't know, because I never asked any of the employees when I was there how they liked working for Danny. That's kind of rude, right? Like, you go into a place of business and then you're like, so how much, how does Danny treat you? Obviously, if he treats you good, obviously you're going to say, yeah, but if he treats them bad, they're not going to be like, with Danny Chu standing right next to them, they're not going to be like, no, he works us like dogs, I hate it here. Like, no one's going to say that. But I'm assuming that his employees love him and they love working there, and it looks like a great place to work at. But you never know. I'm not a part of his team. I'm not there on a daily basis. I don't know the dynamics of how it works in his shop. So I'm not going to sit there and criticize and be like one of these people on the internet that's just making these assumptions based on limited information. Like, you don't have all the details. All right, let me get off my soapbox after talking about that. And then lastly, the night crew. So somebody suggested a night crew so that they can cater to different time zones. But that's weird. And I didn't think it was weird at first. At first, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Maybe hire a separate crew, so that they can do the night thing. But then when Danny Chu really explained it, that is pretty weird, to be honest. Because first of all, the first thought in my head was, okay, if he gets a night crew, he's got to hire more people. And now you might think, oh, where's he going to put all these people? Well, the morning crew went home, so the night crew will just take their place. So it's the same amount of people in the same space. But he still has to hire more people. And then those people have to be trained to work just as efficiently and just as good as the morning crew people. And, his regular morning crew people have been there for years. They know the inside and outs of this business. If he hires a whole new crew, they're all going to be novices that need to catch up to the skills of the originals. And that takes time. It also takes a lot more money to hire double the crew so that they can have a nighttime crew. Because if you're going to have the same amount of sales and the same rapidity of sales and the same need to have to package things, you're going to need the same size crew as well with the same expertise level. That's a lot of logistics there. That's also a lot of money, all for like a night crew. But the thing I thought was more weird that I didn't think about until Danny Chu said it is that you're asking him to do something that you yourself wouldn't do in a way, so to speak. Like you're asking him, you're essentially asking people to stay late and work overtime for a sense. Now, obviously it's not the same people because it's a separate night crew, but you know what I mean? Like what business really runs like that? What business has a 24-hour crew where they work in the morning and they work in the evening? Just think about it. How many businesses are like that have two separate crews, a morning crew and a night crew? Which businesses do that? Large businesses, Microsoft, Amazon, things like Best Buy, Walmart. These are huge multi-million-dollar businesses with multiple stores with huge revenues and huge products that they got to move around. You're comparing that to like a small, less than 20-man crew, and that's absolutely ridiculous. And then you're asking people to work like nights, like, you know what I mean? Like he'd have to hire a separate crew that is willing to work through the night on their time, right? You're asking people to work through the middle of the night from the evening, like 6 o'clock to probably 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. so that you in Europe don't have to stay up till 1 or 3 a.m. in the morning. So you're asking other people to do what you don't want to do in order to cater to what you need. Like that's just selfish. That's ridiculous. Like when he phrased it like that and he put it like that, that's kind of ridiculous. And then you're like, well, I'm the consumer. I'm not the worker. So, consumer wins, or the consumer is always right, or consumer's God. We've all heard that phrase before from Danny, but even before Danny, I've always heard that phrase that the consumer is always right. And you know what? As a consumer, you love that phrase because you're in the right. You're the one winning. You know what I mean? You're the consumer. And in some respects, I guess that works because some businesses, they want your money. Like they want you to keep spending because they want your money. But for whatever reason, and I honestly don't know the reasons for this, but Danny Chu doesn't want your money. It sounds weird, right? Because as a business, your whole goal as a business is to make money, right? Like most businesses are like that. But Danny's business is not like that. Danny's business is creativity. Like he made Smart Doll essentially for himself. And he's making the clothes essentially for himself. What he likes, he's catering everything about his business for what he likes. And it just turns out that a whole bunch of people around the world likes what he's making. So they want a piece of it and he's selling it. But he has made it perfectly clear that he does not want your money, that he's not doing this business for the money. So now you're saying, well, if he's not doing it for the money, why doesn't he just give them away for free? Well, he's not trying to go bankrupt either, okay? If anything, he's trying to break even and make a little bit extra money so that he can take his staff out on vacation and travel with his staff on vacation. If you really want to think about it that way, like that's really what he's doing. He's living his best life. Like he's making products that he loves and that he's having a good time doing it with his staff/family. And he's making enough money. And I know this is really hard to believe because maybe it's not true. I'm only assuming. This is the speculation zone. But if he's really honest about the whole fact that he doesn't want your money, that he's not doing this business for the money, then he's essentially selling everything a slightly above cost so that he can pay for his overheads, he can pay for his staff, and then have a little left extra so that he can go on vacation with staff. That's how I like to see it. I don't know if that's entirely true. I mean, he does have to make a living. I mean, he has rent to pay. He has to feed himself and his wife. He has to pay for his power bills and things like that. He has to pay for his own hobbies. He's a person just like us. He has other hobbies too, like Star Wars and Transformers and cosplay. Like, he is a human being. He has other hobbies other than his love for dolls. So he needs money to pay for that. He needs money to pay for his staff. He needs money to be able to take his staff out on vacations, not because he has to, because he loves and appreciates his staff for what they do for him, and he wants to show, his appreciation for that. That's the way I want to see it. Is that a really romanticized way of looking at it? Is that like a fanboy way of looking at it? Sure. Call me out. I don't care. You can call me out all you want and say that. I will admit to it. It is a little fanboying. But you know what? There's enough hatred out there in the world. Let's spread some love, people. Like, is it that bad to want to believe in the best in people? Is it really that bad to want to believe that somebody is just out there trying to do good and trying to be a good person to his employees? I don't think it's a crime to want to believe in that. Like, and that's the way I feel. Like, I want to believe that's what the mission statement is. Like, Smart Doll is a place for creativity. Smart Doll is a place for diversity. Smart Doll is a place for inclusivity. Like he it's just, why, I guess as human beings we always want to like try to nitpick and find the negatives in things, whether it's for our benefit or whatever, or because we're jealous. I don't know what the reasons are, but if you want to fault me for wanting to believe in the best in people, then fine, fault me for that. Then I'm 100% guilty for wanting to believe in the best in individuals. I mean, Danny Chu is a person just like you and I. He just has a business, and he runs a good business, in my opinion. But he's still human nonetheless. If you prick him, will he not bleed? Like, he still needs to eat like us. He still has loves and hates like us. He still has other hobbies that he likes to do like us. And all these like things that people are saying, like, it just gets to me. And I guess it's just an added thing that gets to me. And I've said it to like some of my friends before, but I don't know. I don't know Danny Chu as well as people may think I know him. I had the unique opportunity, and I've been very blessed to have multiple instances where I got to meet him in person, mainly through Anime NYC and my trip to Japan. And I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to talk to him just person to person. And to me, he's just a really cool, down-to-earth guy. Like, he's very relatable, very easy to talk to. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And like, I guess those small interactions that I had with him and those times that I cherish that I had with him, maybe that turned me into a fanboy. Or maybe that just made me appreciate the guy more. Now that I know a little bit more about him, now I got to spend some time with him. It just makes me appreciate him for him and what he does, you know? And if that makes me a fanboy, fine. I'll take I'll take that. I don't care. It's just, if you want to fault me for wanting to believe in the best in people, then fault me for that. But I can see, you know, why he's doing the things that he's doing. And he explains it pretty thoroughly. So I don't understand why people are attacking him in Europe. I really don't. And plus you have Anime Sugoi, which is a licensed Smart Doll, affiliate in Europe that will get some of these products that you can buy from them as well. So if you missed out on the drops directly from Smart Doll, you have the chance to get it from Anime Sugoi as well. So, you know, just like we do in America, we have a chance to buy things that may have sold out on the Smart Doll store from Fabric and Friends. Now, mind you, it's at a higher price point, but that's because Fabric and Friends and Anime Sugoi are inheriting those custom costs. They're inheriting those delivery fees for those products to get to them, and they have to cover their own overheads because they're small businesses as well. So I really don't understand it. Like, I feel like some of this complaining, some of this griping is from people that don't understand how business works, or are too young to understand how business works. Like, we don't know the ages of these individuals that are doing this complaining. It could be a 10-year-old. It could be a 15-year-old that doesn't know how business works. It could be a 30-year-old that just never worked in business before. I've never worked in business before, but I have friends that have small businesses, and I see the pains that they go through. So in a way, I can kind of extend that to Danny and just kind of understand through that end of how much of a pain and how much of a trouble it must be to run a small business. But I don't know. I'm going to get off my soapbox right now because I know I'm probably pissing off a lot of people, and that's fine. If you want to unsubscribe from me because I said something you don't like, that's fine. I don't want people watching me that don't like me anyways. My doll family is my doll family. It's anybody in the doll hobby that just wants to enjoy and love the doll hobby just as much as I do. And if you're going to be an individual that's going to be complaining and be mad all the time, but in an what's the right word? I don't want to say irresponsible because that's not the right word, but the only thing I could come up with is immature. Like I'm sure there's probably a better word to use to describe it, but I feel like people are just being a little immature about this. Remember also that as much as we love these dolls, and I would love to have every single doll, and again, I say it looks like, because I own a lot of dolls, it looks like I've got every single doll out there that I want, and I've never had an issue. Trust me, there are dolls I want that I've never gotten, and I really want, and I just haven't had the ability to get. So it's not like I don't feel your pain on not being able to get the doll that you want. But remember, these dolls are a luxury item. These are not necessities to your life and well-being. Now, some people may argue that, these help with your mental health. And, that's true. A lot of people I know also have developed bonds with their dolls that help them with their mental health. Yes, that's fine. But the doll themselves doesn't have to be the mental health. It could be anything else that you identify with or that that brings you calming and peace. It could be a favorite Transformer. It could be a favorite Monster High girl. It could be anything that just makes you feel better about yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be these dolls, which are luxury items. What is necessity to life is water, food, air, lodging, a roof over your head. I guess nowadays power and internet also is kind of a necessity, I guess. But like these dolls, as much as I love them, are not a necessity. And if God forbid something were to happen in my life where I really need money, for my family, to provide for my family, I will sell all my dolls if that need be, because they are not a necessity for me to survive. There's something that I love and something that I cherish very much, but I do not need these products to survive in life. And some of you individuals out there, I feel, are like taking this to a whole nother level and persecuting this guy for a luxury item. Again, I'm going to take myself off the soapbox. I've said too much. I probably offended a whole bunch of you out there. And, if I've offended you, I do apologize. My goal is not to offend you. It's just I'm getting very frustrated. But with more power comes more responsibility, I guess, the whole Spider-Man phrase. And, if you want to use that as a metaphor, it's kind of the same with the doll hobby in saying that the more popular a doll hobby gets, the more individuals come into the pot, and the more you'll have conflicting issues. And that's just how things are. But I don't see this happening to anywhere else. I don't see people doing posts and internet posts and Instagram posts and YouTube videos about how bad Volk's release system is, or how bad Toyota's release system is, or how bad Ferrari's release system is, or how bad Apple releases their stuff. There may be some people out there that do criticize, but it's nothing to this level. I haven't not seen this before. People complain about not getting the newest iPhone when they're released, but you don't see iPhone bowing down to you. They still release things the same way. And I always use cars as a reference, but you don't see Ferrari doing that either. Ferrari doesn't peddle to customers. Ferrari makes products that they like and releases them the way they like. And that's even worse. Say you won the lottery and you have all the money in the world right now and you want to buy a couple Ferraris. Well, tough luck. You can't. Did you know that a lot of the entry-level Ferraris you can buy are not the ones that people really want? Things like LaFerrari. Like, in order to get a LaFerrari, you have to own very specific Ferraris in your garage and be a current owner of, and have spent X amount of dollars and be a member of Ferrari to even be eligible to put your name on a list to get a LaFerrari, and you not even guaranteed to get one at that point. Like, that's crazy. Can you imagine if Smart Doll did that? Can you imagine if Smart Doll was like, you need to own a Mirai, a Chitose, and a Genesis, and a Transcendence in order to get the new CC2 or C2 limited collaboration model? Can you imagine if they did that? If they said you have to own these things in order to even be eligible to participate in the click war for C2? Can you imagine that? But that's how Ferrari runs its business. I don't see people up in arms and complaining about that. But maybe I digress. Maybe it's because I'm not a part of the Ferrari community to know this. But again, you know, I don't see why Smart Doll is the exception, that people think that, you know, a small business such as that has to bow down and cater to the customer, especially when their goal is not really to make money. Like, if their goal was to make the most money and as much money as they can, I'm pretty sure they would run the business differently and hire more staff and make bigger warehouses and make machines to make these dolls. But the goal, apparently, according to what Danny Chu says, is not to make money and become millionaires or anything like that. The goal is creativity, diversity, inclusivity. I always get that name wrong. But that's their goal, is not to make money. And I'm going to have to take Danny Chu's word for that. I mean, that's what he says. Like, I have no reason to doubt that. Like, I don't have any evidence to the contrary where he said otherwise. So, you know, I am trying to do what I think I should be doing and what is best for me as a person, and that is to see the best in people. So, call me a hopeless romantic or fanboy, I don't care. But that's the way I want to look at it, because to look at life through the lens of jealousy and hatred all the time is just going to make me a miserable person. I want to think the best in people. So that's why everybody out there is a part of my doll family. Unless you do not want to be a part of it, then that's fine. Again, I'm done. I know I've said that a few times, but I can't. This makes me so mad, you know, because I love this community so much. I do. For the most part, this is a very loving, heartfelt community. So I don't understand why this keeps happening. But at the same time, I kind of understand. It's really a catch-22. But yeah, that's it. I'm getting myself all hyped up. Like, I really shouldn't. It's just, we go through this every time there's some kind of weird problem going on in Smart Doll Land. You don't hear me talking about these problems when I do the Volks news or the Azone news. You don't hear that. Because there's no posts about it. Like, when Volks announced their newest released items, or Azone released the newest released items on Twitter or Instagram, read the comment section. Read the comment section. Nobody in the comment section is complaining. Pretty much everyone's just like, that's so beautiful, can't wait to get one, oh my god, they're so lovely, blah, 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 blah. No one is criticizing Volks or Azone when they have in themselves practices that you would complain about. You're just not a part of the... I guess these complainers are not part of the Volks community or the Azone community. Or maybe they just prefer that. Maybe they've been a part of the Azone and Dolphy Dream community for so long that they're used to that standard or that model of releasing things. And they don't like the way Smart Doll runs things. And that's fine. Danny Chu says it all the time. Don't buy from Smart Doll. Maybe the best bet for you is to go with another doll company. Maybe that's just it. I don't know. I lost a whole bunch of subscribers in this episode today. I probably lost like a whole bunch of subscribers from this whole rant. But you know what? It doesn't matter to me. Because my goal is not to be the next Casey Neistat or the next, I don't know, My Froggy or something. Like, my goal is not to be the top YouTuber in the world with all these numbers. It's great to have subscribers, don't get me wrong, and I am appreciative for every subscriber that I have. But if you choose to not subscribe to me and not watch my videos because you don't like what I have to say, I agree with that. Why would you watch me if you hate what I have to say? Don't watch me if you hate what I have to say. I'm starting to adopt this Danny Chu mentality. If you don't like my practices, then don't watch it or don't buy it. Like, I don't know why you would do that. I don't know. Okay, that's it. Moving on. We don't have any submissions for the community shout out this week, which is fine. If you don't want to participate, that's totally fine. I think that, in the future, I might actually get rid of the community shout out because, and it's nothing against any of my previous participants. If you want to do a community shout out, you can still do them. I just don't know if I'm going to advertise it anymore. It's just because if people don't want to participate, that's fine. It's time to move on to a whole new bit or a whole new type of engagement. I really, my initial thought when I created the community shout out, my initial thought was so that other individuals in this doll hobby can essentially share their photos and share their stories about their dolls with the rest of the world. But apparently nowadays everybody pretty much does that on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. When I created the community shout out, it wasn't as prevalent for people to do their own stories and things like that on Instagram and Twitter at the time. But now it's pretty much blown up where the doll hobby is so big that everybody shares their stories and their pictures on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and things like that, where I think the community shout out doesn't really have really much of a place anymore. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Put it down in the comment section down below. Do you think I should keep the community shout out, or should I just let it, basically run its course and maybe think of another way to create some community engagement for the channel? I mean, I already do some community engagement through my live streams anyways, so maybe it's time to let the community shout out kind of like die down. I think so far we've had 2 submissions in the year, which we're in June now. I think it was 2 submissions. I could be wrong. And then like the year before that, I think there was only a few. So not that I'm not grateful. I am so happy when people participate in it because I like, hearing everybody's stories. But let me know. Let me know in the comment section down below if maybe the community shout out has kind of run its course. But if it hasn't, if you guys want to participate in the community shout out, send me an email to dlwshizusan@gmail.com. Send me pictures that you want me to share with the community. And if you would like to share a story, put the story in the email as well. The only thing I ask is that the pictures at least be, tasteful, nothing too lewd. If it is, I'll just ask you to resubmit other pictures. I also ask you just to make sure to put in your email information that you would like me to share and information you don't want me to share. Because God forbid, I don't want to accidentally read out things in your email that you did not want the world to know. If there is no specification on there, I'll just not read anything in the email and just show the pictures. But that's it. If you want more detailed instructions, it will be in the description below. But yeah, no community shout out for this week. All right, so today was a long episode, and the majority of that was me ranting. So if you don't like to hear me rant and rave about the latest topics in the doll community that's really pushing my buttons, don't watch this video. Which is kind of silly to say at the end of the video because clearly you watched it. But don't watch any future videos if you don't like me sending out my opinion to the world. But that's it. That's everything for today's episode. As always, I'm your host, Shizusan, and my very lovely girl with me today, my lovely assistant, is Hana-chan. Remember to please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want, come to Anime next weekend, June 6th to June 18th. Saturday at 2 p.m. I will have a doll meeting. If it's just me there, it's just me there. But I will try to host a doll meetup. I will post on my Instagram page where it's going to be, but it will definitely be Saturday at 2 p.m. I just don't know where yet. I need to scout out the area first to find a good spot for us. But that's really it. Thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for watching today's episode. And for those of you that really care, thank you for all of your support for my channel. I really do appreciate every single person that supports my channel. I couldn't do it without you. You guys give me the drive and the motivation to keep on going. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. To get by.